Okay, thanks. Good afternoon. In accordance with sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Larry Clay and I'll be chairing this afternoon's session. Panel members are Dylan Reed, Paul Gauguin, Peter Reed, and Phil Gosch, and our Deputy Secretary Treasurer is Nicole Ivanoff. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is a traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Committee of Adjustment hearings are now conducted in a hybrid in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx. The meetings are streamed on the City of Toronto Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer or telephone and have the option of participating via video or audio only. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body or, in some limited circumstances, to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons and public bodies are permitted to appeal decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. Today, I'll call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, the applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak with the committee. The committee may ask questions and/or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I'll comment when you're reaching the 5-minute mark. Any presentation or other materials you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address, and remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the presentation, in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and make a presentation to the committee on the application. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we call on the speakers in the hearing room and then those participating through WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation, and when all speakers are finished, the applicant has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speaker. This will mark the end of the discussion. The application will be taken into committee for a decision. Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer, there are no deferrals for the afternoon?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and panel members. No, I see no deferral requests for this afternoon.
Any declarations of interest for this afternoon's agenda? Nope, seeing none. All right, we can proceed then with item number 20. This is an application for 41 Indian Grove. This is an application to alter the existing 2.5-story detached dwelling by constructing a 1-story L-shaped addition along the south wall and a portion of the rear wall with a rear deck and stairs, and a rear third-floor addition. Also to maintain the side yard parking space. The committee has before it a copy of the minutes of the August 14, 2024 public hearing. Committee has a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans and elevations, revised site plan, floor plans and elevations received September the 18th, and a covering letter from the agent, and a staff report from Urban Forestry.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online as well as one registered speaker in opposition.
Great. Good afternoon, Mr. Galbraith.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, quite fine.
Great.
We'll need a short presentation, please.
No problem. So this item was deferred month or two ago because there was an issue of the side addition removing a parking space and not being able to retain a parking space on the site. So the side addition was revised down so that it is just the existing footprint so that the existing parking space can be maintained. On the right side of the screen, you can see basically what is proposed. At the one-story sort of wraparound L-shaped addition is going to be rebuilt and enclosed. Right now, it is partially enclosed. The existing second floor addition above it is going to be removed, and then a new third floor addition is proposed. This is basically a third floor top up, which is pretty routine. Pretty routine built form these days. 3 variances are triggered. The only sort of notable one is the rear main wall height. I would note if the committee could scroll down to the photographs. Next page, please. There we go. That small one at the bottom right there, it just shows the neighboring property that effectively has the exact same rear addition, an upper floor rear addition. So in my opinion, this is a fairly routine application, and it meets the 4 tests. I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee has.
Great, thank you. Maybe we'll hold until we hear from our speaker.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, good afternoon. If we could have your name and address, please.
Yes, it's Mark Backley of 270 Indian Road. I am the neighbor in the rear and side lot.
Okay, sir.
I'm in opposition to this plan for overlook and privacy concerns. And although we did accommodate the neighbor to allow a 3rd-story addition, we have significant tree coverage, coniferous tree coverage, as well as trees on our property that mainly block that sight line. In the case of 41 Indian Grove, the sight line currently is a direct line of sight to the neighbor's roof, which will now be large, expansive windows that directly look into our showers, because in our washrooms, our showers are windowed with windows that open, and it was designed that way because we had complete privacy from all surrounding neighbors. And in this case, when they build, if they build their addition, we'll have direct sight lines into each other's washrooms. In fact, looking from the plan, they're also going to have a shower that is in clear sight lines of our shower and windows. Seems a little bit like there's would be a privacy concern. So I'd also like to add that we weren't in opposition if the neighbors were willing to plant some mature coniferous trees to block this view. We're certainly not opposed to the beautiful addition that they're presenting, and we feel that growth in the neighborhood is of course good, but we would just like our privacy to be maintained. We also don't feel that it meets test 1. It's not a minor variance. In fact, it's 200% over the allowed variance according to your own website on your splash page. A reasonable height allowance will be 0.5 meters, not 1.31 meters. So we definitely do not feel it meets test 1 as per your own website. We also feel that while no one has the right in law to view over another's property, such a loss should be considered in circumstances where someone wishes to change the bylaw to restrictions. And that's actually from case law in Toronto. We also feel that it doesn't meet test 3. We feel that the new build is not desirable, as this expansion to our knowledge is a want and not a need. A valid reason to adjust a variance cannot be on the whims and wishes of individuals, especially where it takes away established rights and privilege set in precedent and building codes from a neighbor, us, who purposely purchased the property due to the seclusion it provided and the established roof and sight lines that observed existing bylaws. And there's case law to support that as well. We also do not feel it meets test 4, as 41 Indian Grove has not made any accommodation to the community to create some benefits from this height bylaw change. So that's basically where we're at, and we're just wondering how you guys feel about this privacy and overlook concern.
Thank you, sir. Before we go back to the agent, I was just looking at the satellite view, at least the view that we have. I don't have a date on it, but it looks like there's significant tree canopy between you and the applicant, or
Yes,
are there no trees there anymore?
Oh, there's plenty of trees. They're just higher, much higher. They're mature, and they're at least 50 feet higher than the roof line. From our terrace, our fire pit area, our lower terrace, our garage, our art house, and our house, we have a direct sight line that's almost unobstructed to their roof. So we see all their shingles, we see the skylight, we see everything. There's almost like a window from our area into theirs, which is unique, I will agree. And that's why we were looking for more tree coverage to now block out the roof, which could be their third story.
Okay, thank you. Panel, any questions? All right, we get the agent back.
Thank you very much. Yes, if the committee could pull up the cover letter. I addressed these concerns. Next page, please. Oh, sorry, on this page, sorry, if you go back up, the blue on the previous page, that's the extent of the variance. Again, it basically matches almost exactly what the neighboring property at 39 Indian Grove already has, and 39 Indian Grove is directly behind 270 Indian Road. The subject site is off to the side. If you can go down to the next page. Thank you. Zoom in on this aerial. So you can see there's the subject property there, 41. And as Mr. Clay correctly observed, there is significant tree coverage between the two properties. And what isn't really visible is that 270 Indian Road is 4 to 5 meters higher in elevation. Essentially, the base of that property is up near the top of the subject site. If you scroll down to the next photo, I was unsure what the visibility was between the two properties, and so I basically went looking for 270 a view of it in the backyard of the subject property, and I had to go all the way to the very back corner of a very deep lot. Again, these houses are more than 240 feet apart. Even to have the smallest glimpse of the house. The neighbor mentioned that there's views from their art studio. They have their property is this very, very large sort of T-shaped property that wraps behind 4 or 5 other lots, and they have this unusual, almost like large shed that they use as an art studio. I don't think there's any expectation of privacy to that structure, nor do I think that there is an unreasonable, an undue impact to privacy on their main dwelling. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Panel, any questions? Seeing none, okay, then we can take this into committee. Who wants to kick us off? Thank you, Peter.
I think putting aside the concerns of the neighbor, or addressing the concerns, I think that the agent did a good job explaining the distance involved between the two houses. And regardless, I mean, the changes that are being proposed are extremely small. And I think that there could be these overlook concerns even with anything as of right. So these are reasonable and minor variances, and I move approval without condition.
Great. Motion to approve by Mr. Reed. Do I have a seconder? Mr. Ghosh? Second. Thank you very much. All in favor? You have your approval, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's move on to item number 21, 448 COSBURN Ave. This is an application to alter the existing two-story semi-detached dwelling by constructing a rear two-story addition. The existing rear deck and stairs and rear detached garage will be maintained. Committee has before it a copy of the minutes of the August 28th public hearing, copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, revised site plan, floor plans, and elevations received August 13th, revised again site plan, floor plans, elevations received November the 4th, and revised zoning waiver received November the 4th.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online and no registered speakers to this item. I do want to just point out for the record, with respect to the public hearing notice for this application, the notice went out mistakenly including variance number 4 for landscaping, which is actually showing compliance. And it's our understanding the agent is actually going to remove this variance, and it has to be removed because it's showing compliance. So the agent will speak to this as an amended application, and the agent can confirm that he will be removing that variance.
Great, thank you. Okay,
Good afternoon.
good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, my name is Ketul Shah. I'm the agent for 448 COSBURN Avenue. I have submitted the zoning waiver, which includes the first 3 items. So I wanted to remove the 4th item because it's in
Okay.
compliance.
So you're officially removing variance number 4?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, if that's the case, just hang on a second. Panel, does anyone need a presentation on this one? Sir, the panel has read all of the material. We're comfortable with what we've read. We understand it. We don't really need a presentation this afternoon. Before we take it into committee for a decision, is there anything you'd like to share with the panel?
No, I don't have any additional information.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're in committee. Paul?
Again, this project, this proposal at 448 COSBURN has gone through a certain sequence of events, but the current requested variations seem, I agree, are minor in nature. They seem to be a good compromise based upon previous discussions in front of this panel and obviously with the local residents as well. So I don't believe this has any forestry conditions. So I would
No.
recommend we approve this application without amendment.
Okay, motion to approve by Mr. Gogan, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor?
As amended, thank you.
As amended, thank you very much.
Amended, sorry, thank you. Sorry.
All in
Minus
favor?
item
That's approved. Thank you.
Thank you, sorry, I forgot about item 4.
Okay, number 22 is 121 Avenue Road. This is an application to alter the approved 8-story mixed-use building as approved by T-Lab by constructing a rooftop pool, a side extension of the rooftop terrace, screening for relocated mechanical equipment on the upper roof, and increasing the height of the elevator overrun. The site is also subject to a current site plan control application. Committee has before it a copy of the minutes from the September 25th public hearing, copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, covering letter from the agent, subsequent covering letter from the agent, presentation materials from the agent, and correspondence and support from ABC Residents Association.
Through the chair, we have the applicant here in person. You can come up to the podium. And we have no registered speakers for this item.
Hi.
Good afternoon. My name is Haley McWilliam, and my address is 3 Church Street.
Great, Haley. Hang on a second. Panel,
Maybe a brief presentation.
brief presentation? Okay, just because of the history. If you could give us a brief overview of your application.
Sure, absolutely. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
The application before you today is simply to permit 5 additional items to project and encroach beyond the approved building envelope. No changes to the overall height or massing of the building are proposed. For some background, the site has approvals for a mid-rise building dating back to 2007, and since that time, modifications have been made and there have been subsequent approvals to permit these changes. If you are able to pull up my presentation. Thank you. At this time, we're seeking permission for additional projections and encroachments, which will be located on the roof and the upper roof levels of the building. And these are requested to improve the functionality and the livability of the building. So specifically, the requested projections and encroachments are for a rooftop pool, mechanical screening, mechanical equipment, an elevator overrun, and a rooftop terrace extension. And if you go to the next slide, these items are bubbled just for clarity. If you go to the next slide, I have an elevation, again, just to illustrate the location of these items. So the rooftop pool and the rooftop terrace extension are located on the roof level, while the mechanical equipment, the mechanical screening, and the elevator overrun are located on the upper roof level. If you go to the next slide, these elements have been strategically designed and located to minimize visual impacts to the public realm. So this is a section that includes view planes, illustrating that you won't be able to see these elements when standing on the opposite side of Avenue Road. And you would only begin to be able to see these items approximately 7 properties to the east along Webster Avenue, which is approximately 40 meters away, so quite well separated. If you go to the next slide, we have a perspective taken from the north side of Webster Avenue, looking southwest. As you can see, the projections are not visible from this angle. If you go to the next slide, this is a perspective taken from the northwest corner of Avenue Road. So at this point, you can actually just see the rooftop terrace extension at the southwest corner of the building there, which we think actually improves the appearance of the building since it balances out the massing that's created by the balconies underneath. And then on the next slide, we have one more perspective taken from Avenue Road just south of the building, looking northeast. This gives a better angle of the rooftop terrace extension there. But again, none of the other projections and encroachments are visible. In summary, it's my opinion that the requested variance meets the 4 tests. From an official plan perspective, it permits the construction of a high-quality mixed-use building that's within walking distance of higher-order transit. From a bylaw perspective, the proposal maintains the intent of the site-specific bylaw that was approved in 2007, as it would simply add additional items to the list of the permitted projections and encroachments. The variance is minor as there would be very limited impact on the public realm, as the elements have been strategically located and designed to either enhance or not be visible from the public realm. And finally, the variance is desirable as it would enhance the functionality and amenity of the mixed-use building. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you. Any questions? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take this into committee. Dylan?
Yeah, I mean, it's practically a technical variance. I noticed that they have consulted the Local Residents Association and got their approval, which I think is valuable and important. And I appreciate the effort that's been made to make sure that none of these are really visible from the street. So I think it's really minor and helpful variances, and I move that we approve them.
Okay, motion to approve by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? You have your approval, man. Thank you for coming down.
Through the chair, the next slot of items actually starts at 3 p.m., so we'll have to take a 5-minute pause. Don't even want to use the term break, but a 5-minute little break pause until we start item 23 at 3 p.m.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Everyone can mute and turn off their cameras.
Okay, welcome back. We proceed with item number 23 on the agenda, 112 Shaw Street. This is an application to alter the existing two-story semi-detached dwelling by constructing a complete third-story addition of front and rear rooftop patios with an enclosed rooftop access staircase, a rear basement addition, and a rear ground floor deck. Committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, revised site plan received, floor plans and elevations received October 25th, 7 photographs of the subject property, email correspondence with city planning and the agent, staff reports from community planning, and the TTC. We have a 7 signature petition in support from properties on Shaw Street.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent on the line and no registered speakers to this item.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Sorry, sir, you're going to have to speak up just a little bit.
Yep, no problem. No, can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better, thanks. Name and address, please.
Greg Davidovich, 101 Robert Hicks Drive.
Okay.
I'm the agent speaking on behalf of this application.
Great, I think we wouldn't mind a short presentation, please.
Sure, yes. So the project is a third floor addition with a rooftop terrace, basement extension, and underpin as well. We have gone out and spoken to the surrounding neighbors who have all showed support and have no issues with the application. We've spoken to planning staff. We've addressed 2 small concerns that they had. Mainly, one was with rear grading underneath the deck, which we addressed with granular and filter cloth, as well as privacy screens on the terrace. Speaking to planning, it seems like those 2 issues were satisfied, and they do have a staff report saying that they're satisfied with what we proposed. I do know that there's precedent for a reduction of setbacks and increased FSI on the street. That many projects were approved this year. And to name a few, 51 Claremont, 3 Rebecca, 791 Adelaide, 18 Crocker. These were all projects within the vicinity of this property that have also applied for a similar type of variance. So based on all this, we believe it meets the 4 tests of a minor variance, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Great, thanks very much. Panel, any questions? Seeing none. Okay, thank you, sir. Let's take this into committee.
I'm happy to bring a motion.
Okay.
I think this is a reasonable application, and the variances are quite small, and I think a lot of this is pushed to create some usable outdoor space on a really constrained lot. And I think with the inclusion of the conditions that planning has put forward, I think this is a fully defensible application. So I move approval subject to those 4 planning conditions and the TTC condition.
Okay. Yes, Dylan?
I just want to say this is quite an unusual lot. So I think that, and it's also very close to Queen Street West. So I mean, is essentially asking for a 4th story, but given the constraints of the lot and the location, I think it's pretty reasonable.
Agree.
So I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Mr. Reed with those conditions, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? You have your approval. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 24, 139 Margueretta Street. This is an application to construct a 1-story detached garage in the rear yard abutting the laneway. The existing garage will be demolished. Committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 2 photographs of the subject property, a tracking list of form letters sent to addresses prepared by the agent, 6 form letters in support from owners occupants of 131, 147, 149 Margueretta, and 408, 412, and 416 Brock Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online and no registered speakers for this item.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Your name and address, sir.
Certainly. Nick Allen, 160 The Westway, Unit 16D, Etobicoke.
Great, thanks very much. Just hang on a sec, sir. Panel, fairly straightforward. Don't think we need a presentation. Sir, we've read your application. We're familiar with the material. We don't need a presentation this afternoon. Is there anything you'd like to share with the panel before we take it into committee for a decision?
No, I think fairly straightforward application. If there's no questions or comments, then I'm happy to proceed.
Great, thanks so much. All right, let's go into committee. Bill?
Yeah, I'll just take this right into a motion. It's an extremely straightforward, very small variance, just to make a slightly larger than permitted new garage that isn't going to impact any of the surrounding properties. So for that reason, I would move to approve it.
Okay, motion to approve by Mr. Ghosh, seconded by Mr. Gogan. All in favor? You have your approval. Thank you, sir. Item number 25, 47 Lang Street. This is an application to alter the existing legal non-conforming 1.5-story detached dwelling by constructing a complete second and third story additions, a 3-story side addition, rear additions to the second and third stories above a new rear ground floor deck, and a rear basement walkout. Also to reconstruct the existing driveway in the rear yard abutting Sears Street. Committee has before it. Paul, you okay for hanging around for this one? Yeah. Okay. Committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans and elevations, revised site plan, floor plans and elevations received October 23rd, red line public notice received October 23rd, covering letter from the agent, correspondence with the agent, arborist report, presentation materials from the agent, a tree site plan. We have email correspondence from the application technician for Committee of Adjustment and a staff report from the TRCA.
There's some serious red line. There's some red lines.
Yes, well, so we'll go through the revised variances. If we have the agent, please.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent on the line, and we do have a speaker registered in interest. Staff have made a few attempts and are unable to reach them, but we will just give one more attempt to reach the speaker listed at 107 Sears Street.
Okay, thank you. Leo, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good afternoon, everyone. Essentially...
Full name, Leo. Sorry, Leo, full name and address for the record, please. Sorry.
Leo Mastandrea, 817 COSBURN Ave. I'm the agent for the owners at 47 Lang Street.
Thanks. So you've got a red line notice?
Yes. Is that the one from Stanley?
Through the chair, in the very late materials, if staff can pull up an email between staff and the agent where there is a revised purpose of application. We have some drafted language. Will, if you could just scroll down in that email, please. Yeah, to the red paragraph. So on the screen, we have some revised language for the purpose, and we can have the agent comment on if this is correctly reflecting his revised proposal or if there's any changes to this purpose on the screen. And then we'll read it out.
Okay, Leo, I'm just going to read this while you're looking at it. It reads, to alter the existing legal non-conforming 1.5-story detached dwelling by constructing a front second-story dormer addition, a cantilevered second-story side addition, a rear 2-story addition, rear deck and side basement walkout, a rear basement extension, as well as altering the dwelling roof line from a pitched roof to a flat roof. Also to reconstruct the existing driveway in the rear yard abutting Sears Street. Is that an accurate description?
It is. And just to add, the reason why we changed it from 3 stories to 2 stories is when we started talking to the neighbors, they were overwhelmed with the 3rd floor. So that's why we revised our drawings and resubmitted as a 2-story house as opposed to a 3-story house. And I believe when in doing that, they seemed not to have any issues with our revised drawings.
Are there any changes to the variances?
There is no variances only because it's zoned industrial. So it's just a zoning.
Just like
I believe because
It's
Yeah, it's existing non-conforming.
Through the chair,
Those
so
photos of the existing house that is 47 and the houses across the street and Kitty Corner, just to show that although yes, it is zoned industrial, it's been existing residential for many years.
The variance also includes reference to the third story.
So through the chair, if we can go back to the public notice, there is a revision that needs to be made further in the notice. If staff can please scroll down. So under the requested permission, under subsection 45(2)(a), and 2 of the Planning Act, in reference, we have on the screen here the strike through, where it looks like the agent is amending or deleting reference to the previous application, and now we'll be revising that language to reflect the new amended purpose that was just on the screen.
Okay. Leo, does that make sense to you?
It does make sense.
Basically, we're inputting the language that's in the.
Correct.
Yeah.
In that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's just repeating the same language from the purpose, but because the applicant has changed the purpose, we have to change this section of the notice to reflect the amended purpose.
Okay.
Only to keep it happy though.
Yeah, fair enough. Hang on a sec, Leo. Have we been able to reach the individual?
Mr. Tarek Turk, you have been unmuted.
Yes.
Okay, so hang on a sec, sir.
Thank you.
Hang on a sec, sir. We're going to have the agent just give us a brief overview of the application, and then you'll get an opportunity to share your views on this with the panel, okay?
No problem.
Okay. Leo?
Yes, so essentially, it's from our original application, we removed the third floor completely. If you can, if you'd like to pull up the old drawings to the new drawings, I'm not too sure, but we removed the third floor completely. In speaking with the neighbors, they just seemed overwhelmed with the third floor. So we reduced our footprint roughly by about 1,000 square feet and removed the third floor completely and redesigned the house to accommodate 2 stories as opposed to 3. And in doing that, the owners spoke to the neighbors and they didn't seem to have any concerns based on our revised drawings, which you have in front of you.
Thanks. Do you know, is this like entire block zoned industrial and there's legal non-conforming residences as well there, or is your property an isolated case?
No, it's the whole block actually. It's from Sears, from Knox to Leslie.
Okay. So all the homes there are potentially legal non-conforming.
Yeah, those are the townhouses that I show a photo of on 101 Sears. Those are in the same zone.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions, panel? You can ask this other.
Mr. Tarek, go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry if you can hear me. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak here. I did not know that the.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Sorry,
sorry to interrupt you, sir. If you could just, for the record, give us your name and address, please.
That's good. It's Tarek Turk, and it's 107 Sears Street. Property right at very across the street from 47 Lane.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to speak here. For the record, I don't have any major concerns with the property. That the third floor was a bit of an issue, but it sounds like that's been resolved. So that kind of eliminates all of those concerns. My 2 questions, and I missed the beginning, wasn't able to access to see the pictures. There is a big tree in front. It would be nice if it's possible to preserve it in any way, shape, or form. And just maybe want to make sure that during the construction stage, to make sure that there's no blockage or the blockage is minimal around Sears Street, because it is used, usually kids play around that area, and just want to make sure that the construction management portion is looked after in any way, shape, or form as much as possible. Those are my only two things. Other than that, no concerns with the property, and welcome it. To be honest, it's better than having a big building being put in that lot.
Great, thank you very much. We have Leo back.
Yes, hello?
Yeah, hi.
So we submitted an application to Urban Forestry that I know at one point we were trying to preserve the tree. I'm not exactly sure if that's the case because it was so close to the...
We don't have anything from Urban Forestry, do we? No.
If you made it a condition on forestry approval, then I would be okay with that.
The panel doesn't have any report from Urban Forestry. Have you had discussions with them?
We've submitted an application. We have an arborist report, and I believe we submitted it, and they were waiting for the committee decision to get back to us on it.
Okay, so we don't have anything. There is a tree in front. Is it your...
We're keeping the tree in the front.
So yeah, so it's your intention to retain the tree in the front?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Panel, any questions? Okay, let's take it into committee. Oh, Phil, go ahead.
So this was my first legal non-conforming use application. So I looked up the conditions of approval, and it's that the extension or enlargement does not adversely affect the surrounding properties or neighborhood in general, and that any change of use is similar to the existing use or more closely related to uses permitted in the zoning bylaw. So I thought maybe it would be helpful to remind ourselves of that. Certainly it was helpful to remind myself of that. But it seems to me that, if you look at this pocket, I think it's legal non-conforming because the industrial is probably what's south of Sears Street between Eastern and Sears. And so its next door neighbor is probably conforming, and yet it is not because it's just across what's essentially a laneway. Then those townhomes that are also in the industrial area are across LAING Street to the other side. So it's kind of like the end of a residential pocket and the start of an industrial pocket. So it seems to me that the, residential use makes sense here. In my view, the application meets those tests for for granting permission to extend a legal non-conforming use. I see nothing here that adversely impacts the surrounding properties and neighborhood.
Okay, is that a motion? Oh, sorry, Dylan?
I just wanted to add, it's also my first legal non-conforming use, so I actually appreciate from Phil the explanation of the conditions that we're looking for. That's actually very helpful, and I would agree that it totally fits those. Also, I believe that there's a basement apartment, which is, of course, beneficial addition of habitable of a new place to live to the area. So it seems like a good.
This is, I imagine, south of Eastern was probably at one point pretty heavy industry too, right?
Yeah.
All right, Phil, is that a motion? Did I hear you make a motion
please,
to approve?
Yeah, motion to approve or to grant permission, I think is the language.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Ghosh to approve, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? You have your approval. Thank you. As amended.
As amended.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to request to be excused.
Yes, please do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Or Paul, see you later, huh?
You've got 2 reads and 2 PGs.
It's just confusing. And it's not even that late. I don't have any excuse.
Yeah.
It's true. All right. We proceed on to item number 26, 58 WOODYCREST Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing 2-story detached dwelling by constructing a 3rd-story dormer addition with rear deck on the roof of the 2nd story below, a front and rear 1-story addition, and a partial side and rear 2-story addition. Sorry, a partial side and rear 2-story addition, correct. The existing ancillary building will be maintained and unaltered. Committee has before it a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, and 5 photographs of the subject property.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent here in person, and we have no registered speakers to this item.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. My name is Sean McGaffey, WND Associates, 47 Roselawn Avenue.
Okay. Why don't we, since you've come down, why don't we do a short presentation? Is this just a quick, is this already built?
It is currently under construction, and I can give you a bit of background about sort of how this has come about. So initially, I was asked to take a look at this property back in 2021. There was a zoning review done for what would be a demolition and a reconstruction of a new house. That zoning review identified 17 variances, as well as requisite DCs, parkland contribution, all that comes with a new build. A decision was made to sort of pause at that time, and then decision then followed to proceed with basically a bylaw compliant addition and renovation to the existing house instead. Through that building permit process, it came up that there is one new condition on the subject site that does require relief from the zoning bylaw, and that's the width of the front yard steps proposed from the front porch. So I did prepare just some quick diagrams here to assist the committee in understanding. Really, there's variances related to the height of the overall building at 11.8 meters. That's the existing peak of the roof on the 3rd story. Same for the variance number 2, which is the front and rear main wall height, again at 11.8 meters of that front and rear facing dormer. The 2 dormers that have been added to the 3rd floor at the north and south sides of the property are compliant in terms of the extent of the width of the main walls facing the side lot lines. There is also a variance associated with the existing front yard setback. So the front yard setback is required to be 7.89 meters. The existing front yard is 6.92 to the bay window projection. And again, because this is an addition, that is being maintained. And there is a variance number 4 on the diagram here. That is what I call, I guess, the new variance. And that is for the width of the front yard steps, which are permitted to be 2 meters projecting into a front yard. These are 3.85 meters wide projecting into the front yard. And lastly, variance number 5 is dealing with the side yard setback on the north side of the existing eaves, which are at 0.0 meters. There's been obviously construction taking place on site. It's been coordinated with urban forestry. All the tree protection hoarding has been installed from day one. There's Van Dyke arborist has been engaged with the neighbors as well to monitor any potential injuries. There's no grading taking place in any tree protection zones. The existing rear yard landscape is to remain. The front yard landscaping will be restored following construction back to the original condition, though improved with new planting and things like that. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Great.
So just to be clear, all of these are actually existing conditions except for the front yard steps.
That's correct. And just because of the way that the permit process works and with committee adjustment, notwithstanding their existing conditions, because you're modifying the building, they would ask that you seek authorization for those existing conditions. The steps are a new condition.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? The 3rd story rear balcony, is there any overlook issues with that?
No, not that I believe, sir. And it's pulled well inside of the existing rear main wall, and it's going to be screened both with green roof and privacy screen.
Okay, so you've already got privacy screening. Okay.
Yes, yeah. And like I said, I mean, this initially went from quite a large application down to something much more moderate. I mean, no length or depth, no FSI, anything like that. So.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. No more questions? Okay, let's take this into committee. Peter?
Thanks. Thanks for that explanation. That was really helpful, and I think it really conveyed that this is almost technical. There's really only this one variance that's new, the stairs, and there's no impact from that. The rest are existing conditions, and I can see no negative impact of approving these. I think they're all minor, so I move approval without condition.
Yeah. Motion to approve by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? You have your approval. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you.
We move on to item number 27, 5 Oaklands Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing two-story detached dwelling by constructing a two-story side addition, a complete third-floor addition, also to reconstruct the rear ground level deck, and the existing rear second-story balcony will be removed. What do you have before it? Plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, an arborist report, revised site plan, floor plans, elevations received November the 4th, covering letter from the agent, email correspondence from Transportation Services, staff report from Urban Forestry, and 2 reports from Urban Forestry. Okay, do we have the agent?
Through you, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
we have the agent online and no registered speakers to this item.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, it's Lauren Rose, 388 Spadina Road.
Mr. Rose, we are going to ask you to take us through this very quickly, but have you seen the forestry staff report recommending refusal?
Yes, I have. And if staff could bring up my revised site plan that I sent. We are in full agreement. If you can zoom in on the driveway there. We didn't really understand that that was an important tree in the front. It's in a raised planter box. After seeing the report, we have no problem keeping the raised planter and the tree. I guess you would have to make it subject to forestry's approval or application. We'll make a full application, but we will we'll keep the existing line of the driveway, but we want the extra width once we pass that raised planter, if that's okay. We just, we're rebuilding the porch, so to have a gap between the driveway and the wall of the porch doesn't make much sense. So we would have no problems if you choose to approve the application subject to forestry.
Forestry, it does in its report. I'm struggling to find it. Has anyone got it called up?
There are pictures of the raised planter and the tree.
Yeah, I just want to see, they often say refuse, but if we choose to approve the attached condition, so I just want to confirm. So it would be condition number 1. Okay.
And then, so that's one of the variances for a driveway width of 3.86, only in front of the garage. And then the other variance is for the height of the main walls of the dormers on the front and rear, because they're over 40% of the frontage of the building. We're subject to measure of main wall height to the point where those dormers end. There is no height variance for the house. We're well within the permitted, but because the dormers are more than 40% of the front and the rear, they're taking the height of the main wall to the height of the dormer.
Right. Okay, that's...
And no neighbors have objected.
Yeah, I know, that's fine. So variance number 2, even though you're making an adjustment, the variance still, you're still keeping that variance?
Yeah, well, so we would need to, because we're rebuilding the front porch, that's where we want to build it's a retaining wall right now. So I don't know how you could word it other than making it subject to, if you choose to approve it, to make it subject to forestry's approval. Because we will keep that tree and we'll keep that planter. It's not a problem.
And your revised site plan makes that adjustment?
It shows a line where we would jog the driveway. So.
Okay.
So just a question. So is this an existing driveway?
There is an existing driveway, yes.
And is the existing driveway this additional width already?
No, so if staff can go to that, actually, can we see the planter? That report, can we scroll down? So you can see that planter. Unfortunately, there's a car blocking that the driveway change. So now if you can go to our site plan. So the planter ends, if you zoom in, planter ends where that jog is. And the old porch was wider than what we're proposing. So I just want to build, it's part retaining wall, so there's no point in building 2 retaining walls. But we're far enough away from that tree to do any damage.
So
if we were to jog the retaining.
So you're rebuilding the front porch and you're actually widening the driveway?
We're widening the driveway at the wall, at the house. So as a result, we require the variance.
I know, but I'm just not really sure why bother. I mean, you have a driveway already, why widen it? I mean, why not just make the porch a little bit bigger, or I don't know. Just not really understanding why the driveway needs to be wider.
The porch is not in good shape presently.
Yeah, but when you rebuild it, you could rebuild it the same size. I just don't understand why you're widening the driveway, which is, seems unnecessary. I just want to understand.
It sort of makes more sense to do it this way. I don't know what to say. The driveway is already wider than 3.2 meters. You can see we're straightening it out on the bottom side. It has to do with centering the porch on the front door, or the door and the window. You can't open the car door if you're parked on the driveway.
Okay.
So we wanted to give you a little bit more room.
Okay, well, that's the kind of explanation I was trying to understand.
Okay, so if you go back to that picture with the car
technically you're supposed to park in the garage, but of course I understand that a lot of people don't. So, yes. Okay, that's what I was trying to understand. I was trying to understand what the rationale was for doing that. So that helps to understand. Thank you.
Grandfathered reverse slope driveway too.
Yeah.
Okay, any further questions? All right, thank you, sir. Let's take this into committee.
I do have a bit of an issue with variance too, for sort of this reason of, if it was not an existing condition, would I really approve a wider than usual driveway in this location? Lot of street parking, the tree is being affected.
Well, I mean, technically it's supposed to be being parked in the garage, not on the front outside, but
but I do understand the desires, and it is small in number, so I sort of see this as one where I could be convinced either direction.
I don't think it's worth it's not worth sticking, even if not entirely.
Well, if they're going to save the tree, I think that's a
I mean, if it was narrower, the tree would have been not in any danger at all.
Yeah, that would have been
so it's a question of why the tree was even in question, really. But yeah, no, I still a little dubious, but I don't think it's worth it sticking. So.
Okay, does one of you dubious guys want to make a motion?
If you're feeling really dubious, I can.
You can make the motion.
I think it's fine. I think the variance is relatively small, and I'm glad to see that the applicant has made this change to preserve the tree, which is obviously in the owner's and the public's interest. And I think it's a fine proposal. So I would move approval of the application, subject to Urban Forestry Condition 1, and as revised as per the substantially in accordance with the revised driveway drawing in the revised site plan. Yeah.
Okay.
Which shows the dimensions of the driveway.
Okay, motion to approve with those conditions by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Unanimous. You have your approval, sir. Thank you. We move on to the last item for today's agenda. You want me to slow down, everybody? Item number 28, 19 Bishop Street. This is an application to alter the existing three-story row house dwelling currently under construction as approved under minor variance application A0239/22TUI by replacing a sloped portion of the roof with a flat portion. Committee has before it copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 2 photographs of the subject property, covering letter from the agent, several decision numbers affecting the property, urban forestry letter of clearance, and an urban forestry permit. We have correspondence in opposition from 6 Bishop Street.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we also did receive very late correspondence from Heritage Preservation Services, just indicating that they have no comments for this application, and staff can also just pull that up on the screen kindly. It's in the very late folder, just indicating no comments from Heritage Preservation Services.
Okay.
So we have the agent on the line and no registered speakers for this item.
Mr. Cogan.
Yes, Michael Cogan. I was going to do my address. Is that?
Sorry, sir. Barely hear you. If you could get closer to the mic, please.
Can you hear me now?
It's better. Thank you.
Michael Cogan, 40 St. Clair East, Suite 303. I'm the agent. I'm not sure if you'd like a presentation. I think it's...
No, hang on a sec, sir. Panel?
We don't have a speaker on our...
No. I don't think, sir, we need a presentation today. We've read the application. We're familiar with the material. Is there anything you'd like to share with the panel before we take it into committee for a decision?
Yeah, no, I've spoken with Heritage, and I've done quite a few Heritage projects, including one directly behind it on Bishop Street, other ones, and I think that this is better for the building and better for the Heritage than the sloped little roof portion. I think this is actually an improvement.
Great, thank you, sir. I do note that we've had several applications from Bishop Street, and it generally creates an awful lot of interest. So in this case, there's only a little bit of interest. Okay, let's take this into committee.
Yeah, the previous decisions probably were.
Yeah, they have been.
We've been more, yeah.
We're probably more likely.
Peter and I have been on, I think, a few of these, and they tend to be very controversial. Okay, let's go into committee. Anyone want to take this one on? Phil?
Sure, yeah, I tend to agree with what the applicant's agent said. I think this actually is an improvement. I thought the letter in opposition was very interesting because I think they say right in there, we understand exactly what this is. And I think they do, but I don't really agree with their opposition that the sloping is any better.
Right, I agree. Want to make a motion?
Sure, so on that basis, I think it's a very minor alteration, and I would move to approve it, and there are no conditions.
Great, thank you very much. Mr. Ghosh moves approval. Do I have a seconder? Mr. Reed, all in favor? You have your approval, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And with that, we conclude today's proceedings at 3:41 p.m.
Thank you, members. Thank you, staff.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you, everyone. Great job.
Yeah, is that like a record?
It's a modern day record.
Yeah.